Just when you thought you'd heard it all about the Roswell UFO incident, there's a new buzz making the rounds. This is something you've never heard before. News 13's Nancy Laughlin reports a retired Air Force officer is now claiming there wasn't just one Roswell flying saucer crash, but two.
Is it urban legend or a huge government conspiracy? In 1947, something fell from the sky over Roswell. Something so bizarre, the U.S. Air Force issued a press release saying a flying disc had crashed. That, though, was quickly recanted. And alien or not, more than 6 decades later, the story lives on.
It was a vaulted area and not everybody could get in.
This week, the Huffington Post posted an interview with retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Richard French. He told the Post there was not one but 2 crashes in New Mexico. French says he had nearly 3 decades of military service and worked on military intelligence. He says part of that included debunking UFO sightings, but now he says it's time to come forward. He claims one went down after being disabled by an electronic pulse-type weapon from an experimental U.S. airplane out of White Sands.
The second the pod came down, boom, instead of the rockets going out and knocking down the UFO, the airplane blew up.
The second, he says, went down days later. He's even written a book about it. But now the very elderly French has plenty of critics.
I'm very doubtful.
David Thomas is the president of New Mexicans for Science and Reason. He doubts French's story.
It's not his observation that he was there when they, allegedly used an electromagnetic pulse to shoot down this UFO. It's a secondhand story.
And Thomas says the so-called experimental U.S. airplane that disabled the UFO didn't exist back then.
We certainly didn't have that kind of technology in 1947. I worked on some of the Star Wars programs back in the 80s, and I don't think we had that technology in the 80s, to tell you the truth.
But alien or not, believer or not, what did or didn't happen over the skies of New Mexico is a story that will not die. Nancy Laughlin, KRQE News 13.
According to the Air Force, the 1947 crash, which has become known as the Roswell incident, involved a balloon carrying scientific instruments. The Air Force maintains the flight was part of a secret government project to listen for Soviet nuclear tests.